Hey guys, this is MMORSSTIX back again with another look at an upcoming MMORPG, and in particular, a rare post-apocalyptic shooter MMO. Today, I'm here to talk to you guys about my experience within Ashfall, a game currently in its closed beta phase with a release date of sometime in Q3 2024. I've sunk over 30 hours now into the game and feel quite ready to share with you as much as I can, so you can either put it on your radar for next year or write it off completely if it's just not something you're interested in. Before we begin, I feel I should address the confusion swarming around the game, or rather, the name of the game. There are indeed two Ashfall games under development at this time. One is by Lithos, which is basically the same idea of a post-apocalyptic shooter as we're discussing here, but with blockchain elements. The one I'm covering today is quite different, being developed by Legendary Star Studio, a subsidiary of NetEase. It'll be launching on PC, iOS, and Android. Supposedly, Lithos pitched the game idea to NetEase, and NetEase being NetEase, liked the idea and the name enough that they just kind of went their own way with it, with leaving themselves and Lithos with the same game pitch and name. Now that we put that out there, so no one accuses me of covering a blockchain game, at least on purpose, because it's getting harder and harder to tell. Let's get into it. As you first begin your journey, you are regaled with the history of how we came under attack by robots and the war raged on for many years before cities were basically laid to ruin and the earth became toxic. Kind of like right now.
Yeah, it's hot. It's a lot of sun.
So like any new survivor daring the elements, you're faced with a character creator. You'll have a few options of hairs with a variety of colors, skin tones, and an okay face editor that really didn't feel like it allowed me to change as much as I'd hoped for. In terms of makeup, it's very limited. There seems to be only one eye color, pink. I'm hopeful in the future before launch they add in quite a few more customizations to let you feel like you can appreciate your character, especially since you're allowed to hide helmet in the game. Beyond these areas though, there are no editors for the body, which I'm sure will disappoint a lot of you. You do, however, need to pick your archetype and several traits. These will give you a variety of bonuses like increased grenade damage, weapon speed increase, or extra health on respawn, to name a few. Choose wisely though, as you're pretty much stuck with these choices up until level 29 when you finally make it to Pearl City. That has a vendor that allows you to change it for the low price of in-game currency whenever you want. In terms of combat, which is arguably the most important part of a shooter, you'll have a few choices of guns to go pew pew at enemies with. You will have automatic weapons, which include automatic rifles. Oh wow, I went country on you guys. I mean rifles and submachine guns. Semi-automatic weapons that have sniper rifles, shotguns, and pistols, and heavy weapons which are machine guns. All of which can be modded into making them stronger. Modding can fail, but only takes away a chance of modding it to be stronger. This can also be done to gear. Gear also consists of light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor, which gives you set bonuses usually towards a weapon type, so feel free to mix and match and change based on your favorite weapon type. You're allowed to equip up to 3 guns at one time, and one of them must be a pistol. If I'm being honest here, I've never been fond of pistols in shooters, and sticking with that theme, never found a use for the pistol here, either unless it really was my last option or was required in PvP, which we'll touch on more here shortly. First, let's discuss the PvE portion of the game. You'll move around Ashfall via the overworld map that takes a lot of inspiration from old JRPGs. Possessing many diverse biomes like desert, jungle, and radioactive wastelands where you'll stumble across instance towns, challenges, random events, clues for companion characters, and materials for life skills that are all behind solo instances that have AI enemies that make questionable choices. The AI in this game is, arguably not that smart, but it works, it's fine. Instances in the open world and even PvP will consume stamina, as you have a limit of how often you can engage in these activities. It wouldn't be a cross-platform game without it. You'll be moving around the overworld completely and utterly by yourself with your mount, which you'll acquire going into something known as the secret realm, where you go in alone and traverse an open area, killing enemies for XP, collecting items for life skills, solving little puzzles, and capturing mounts. Each of these secret realms took me roughly 3 hours to do and complete to 100% or sometimes 99% because for the life of me, I can't find the last damn thing. I need to complete it. What I hadn't realized was you can leave the secret realm at any time, so I'd legit spend all those 3 hours there worried that if I left, it'd reset. I am dumb. Lo and behold, you can come and go as you please. Learn from my mistakes. Each secret realm has its own biome and enemy themes, which is pretty nifty. It's a pretty game, but if you're noticing, I'm mentioning a lot of things that you do by yourself. It's because 80% of this game is indeed by yourself. I don't really understand why it's called an MMO, but okay, I'm here to tell you what they call themselves and what they have to offer. I don't make the rules, I'm just here. Probably the most people you will see on your screen at one time are the cities where you'll stand around together and queue for things that you do with only 2 other people and visit vendors before departing. There are other dungeons known as instances in this game where you team up with 2 other players to fight your way through various bosses for rare loot and materials. These fights can be fun and challenging, but you can only run them up to 6 times a day or 2 times depending on the dungeon. Some of the dungeons split up each boss into 1 run. So if you want to do all 3 bosses, you will need to give up 3 of your attempts. I was only able to make it to level 29 and was only able to experience 3 dungeons myself. XP is extremely hard to garner in this game. Each time you level, you will also unlock talent points, which you can use on talents such as increased XP, a chance of instant res, something known as bullet time, where everything slows down and you're in the matrix and you have unlimited bullets to unload onto enemies, and so much more. You can also run guild realms with your guildmates and it appears to allow up to 5 members. Unfortunately, I never got to experience this because, well, my guild is kind of dead. But hey, it's there. I'll be curious to try it once the game releases. I would have just joined a different guild, but since this is a global server, it's shared with a lot of people that don't speak English, so I had trouble. I didn't know how to communicate with Russians or Spanish speakers, but I mean, I tried. We did fine. Guilds are extremely important though, as your guild members are active and doing things. They will allow you to come in each day and get gears from their efforts. You can also visit the guild vendors and work on your physical training to increase your stats. These are all necessary to make you stronger. There are also side quests you can do to give you a little boost of XP, but to find some of these side quests, you're going to need to talk to NPCs as they don't always have indicators above their heads. I also found I literally need to hoard everything. Later down the line, you might have an NPC that asks you for 3 fang teeth, and if you sold your fang teeth, you probably need to go back and get more and hope a random event in the world has the monsters you need to get the fang teeth. So it saved me a lot of time being a pack rat. Also, materials you think are useless end up being crafting materials you'll need for foods, healing sprays, grenades, and so much more. I truly hope they work on the backpack space because I have the biggest backpack I can possibly obtain and also have jammed my warehouse full with its very limited spaces. I need more space, please. You do get to upgrade your warehouse slots at around 30 when you unlock your own little humble abode, but it takes some time to acquire the supplies to do so. The base itself allows you to do many things like garner XP, do more side quests, mine, hang out with your companions, decorate a tiny upstairs area, and stable your mounts. The mounts can also provide you a few extra bag slots if you unlock the talent for it, but overall don't give you any benefits except for in the secret realms. Even the mounts have talents, but they are RNG. Hooray for RNG elements in video games! They can increase things like your gathering speed, movement speed, damage, and so much more. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but there's a lot in here. They can also mutate because, well, we're kind of surrounded by radiation. You can also mutate, and these can be positive or negative effects. Like, I have 5 stomachs right now, and I guess it helps me digest slower and increase all my stats by 2 because reasons. So watch your radiation levels if you can, and you'll need to carry around medication to keep the levels low. No one wants a negative status ailment. As I mentioned, there are a lot of crafting materials. These materials will come in handy as you unlock your life skills, which include engineering, which allows for crafting a backpack, sentries, stat increases, and bullets. Science allows you for crafting of grenades, drones, and stat increases. And finally, survival, which allows you to create healing devices, healing sprays, and a barrier. All of these will be important as you move through more difficult levels, so be sure to begin working on your life skills early. Mine every ore, pick every flower, skin every monster you can, and rummage through every pile of rubbish. You'll find more of these items by unlocking clues you pick up from doing dungeons, random instances, or just pilfering random boxes you find. Simply go to the location it unlocks in your map and reap the benefits. These clues can also lead you to companions, which are substitutes to running instances with real friends. Because who needs friends in MMOs when you could just play by yourself and with an AI? It's like every other MMO, just with AI. Modern day gamers don't play with other people anyway, right? Each companion will have their own talents as well. You can strip the talents off of them by working on your relationship with them and then putting on the companion you like more. Because, I mean, who would want a spider or a monster as a companion? I'd rather have a person with a gun and grenades. My personal John Wick or Lara Croft, so no offense, Spider Dude, I'm picking the person with a gun. Another way to obtain companions is through telling stories to select NPCs in the clubs. If you get their affection with you high enough, you get coins to spend on elite and legendary companions within the Pearl City. You can also garner these coins from following clues once you're high enough level for these particular clues. You will roll for these companions via an RNG gacha-like system, because of course, which I'd imagine is where the pay to win will come into play, but this is just speculation at this point because this game is in beta. The protection stats of your companion are carried over to PvP, as well as chips that are also RNG gacha, which has various benefits such as firepower rate, weapon damage, and more, which now brings us to PvP. PvP has two modes. One, which is my favorite, is a pistol-only mode that happens exclusively at 2000 and only lasts for 30 minutes. It is by far what I consider the most fair. You're dropped in with a pistol only, no gear, and no benefits. You must go out into the arena with your two teammates and garner these items from killing normal enemies, bosses, and looting chests. If you encounter the other team of 3, yes, only one other team of 3 in the arena, you can kill them and take their loot. You'll have roughly 3 lives per instance before you fail and you can no longer play. The other mode is a normal mode, which happens almost every hour on the hour for 20 minutes only. This is where I feel the pay to win may come in if there is any, because it's beta. I can't really tell you at this point because we have a whole year before release, so keep that in mind. You'll go in with your gear, your companion bonuses, chip bonuses, mod level of your gear, and 2 other teammates. The same death rules apply. Running these PvP modes is important because you will garner XP, gears, which is in-game currency, and most importantly, accessories for your weapons. These will help make your weapon stronger or more stable, and if you manage to survive, you will get to keep the gear and items you loot from within the map. Don't worry, even if you die, you keep the gear you went into the match with, just not the additional loot that you got. So overall, PvP seems like it'll be extremely important for not only leveling, but also gearing. One good thing though is that if you are weaker than those in the same match as you, the game will try to balance it out by bringing you to a minimum standard, whatever that may be. There was one match though, we all had a silent agreement that we would not kill each other. We all just went our separate ways, collected our loot, and went to the extraction point, and we all got our loot and lived happily ever after. So in actuality, do you really need to kill the other people? No, not really. Hopefully they give you more incentive to kill the team in there with you, beyond just doing it for kicks and giggles and hoping they have better loot than you. Overall, this game has a lot to it, and also it felt like a whole lot of nothing at times. This is just a personal opinion at this point, but to me it felt less enjoyable and full of life than Undawn did, which is another gacha shooter game that's out right now but with a zombie theme. That at least had life and laughter with a community-driven focus with huge raids with a ton of people. Yeah, the areas in Ashfall look nice. It gives Fallout meets Division vibe, and it has interesting dungeons. The story is kind of beautifully told, like with ink art. Like, look at this. This is This is very cool, but it's still a little bit weird. The story's a little weird, but it's beautiful. It's artistic. Like at one point in time, I fought a boss that turned into a tornado, and then another one that torqued and slapped their ass to garner a shield. Another sang karaoke to me while I fought off his goons. Like, I have no words for some of these bosses. It felt very out of place because this game comes across as very serious and dark. Sometimes the story is intriguing and other times it feels flat. There's also music in here that's done by Hans Zimmer, so I mean, there's that. It sounds good. I just feel like it's still missing something important. It is extremely grindy, so if you want something to sink a lot of time into, this will be an absolute pleasure for you to play. It's also challenging at times, which is more than I can say for Undawn, which felt a lot easier. You'll need to use cover, take down snipers, and deal with melee enemies first. It's nice that if you die outside of PvP and dungeons, it's no big deal because you pop back up like a daisy at the start of the instance with the enemies you killed remaining dead. I like that. I truly hope in a year they come back and it has that special spark it needs to really tie this game together. I also hope they work on the XP and bag space for all the things you really do need in this game. Potentially this could be a solidly cool game to play with minor notes of co-op in there. But they really need to take down the MMORPG tag because this is not it, and I can't even make a small argument to leave it. Maybe if they had instance areas where lots of people could work together, that'd help, but right now, no. Anyway, I'll definitely at least keep a curious eye on this game because it did have its charming moments, and I hope they come back in a year and have improved and are ready to go. I hope you all have a good gaming day. This was MRSSSTIX logging off for now. Bye!
My brother's going down the drain. My sister's living the dream.